Can everybody hear me? Okay. It'd be really nice if those under the tents could join us. Our panel is underway, so if you're interested in this conversation, please make your way to the center. But we'll get started anyway. So, first of all, thank you to the organizers for putting this together, and also this particular conversation I feel is something that's dear to my heart. And I think I remember putting it out and getting a few messages from people who are also interested in what exactly our sex workers actually go through, what their day-to-day is like. And I was kind of blown away finding out that there's actually an organization that's helping advocate for their interests, making sure that their rights are legitimized, making sure that they're protected, and that their concerns are validated by the police force or the statutory agencies and the people that should make sure that they are protected. So I'm very happy to be on this panel and moderating. So perhaps I'd like my panelists to introduce themselves. Can you take the microphone?
I'm Bridget Dixon from WODA, Women of Dignity Alliance.
Mariama Yusuf from WODA, Women of Dignity Alliance.
Please, a round of applause. So if you didn't hear that properly, they are from WODA, Women of Dignity Alliance, and this is an organization, this is an international organization actually, that's doing all kinds of things around sexual health, sexual reproduction, and in Ghana, I realized that they're focused more on the exploitation of children, and also the protection of sex workers in Ghana. And I feel like this is a conversation we all should get involved, and I'm hoping that at the end of this conversation, we would know how else the general public can help or support. So, Mariama, should I start with Mariama or should I start with Bridget? Bridget, you go first. Can you tell us a bit about WODA and what you guys do?
Oh, so basically what WODA does is provide space, safe space for vulnerable women in and around railways, Old Fadama and Jamestown area. When I say vulnerable women, you know, most sex workers, because sex work is illegal in Ghana, we like saying vulnerable women. Yeah.
Okay. Mariama, can you tell us what your role is at WODA and how you help Bridget do her work?
Let me start. Me myself, I'm a sex worker before. I was a sex worker, but now I'm no more. So WODA is people that help the vulnerable women, as Bridget said. What WODA does is we take them through behavior change, and at the end we give them some skills. So for example, me, I'm HIV counselor. I'm also a facilitator and a project officer.
Thank you. Thank you, Mariama. So, Bridget, I read your report, I think 2 days ago, just kind of going through what you've been doing so far, and I'm blown away by some of the experiences. And I'd just like to ask you to please give us a gist of how it started, first of all, how you got into WODA, and what your experience has been touching base with the sex workers in Old Fadama, and what the stories are like over there.
Oh, it started with a nice lady called Susanna Dati. You know, she was also born in this area, basically Jamestown area. She went through a lot, so decided how to think of how she can help these women around the Jamestown area. So she mobilized some girls on the streets, going in and around these areas and looking for how she can help them. And then my experience with working with WODA is that you know, these girls in and around Jamestown, Old Fadama and railways, you know, they are they live in the slums. Most of the time they live without any shed, so the only thing they can do is to sell themselves to men to get in exchange of money. So that is what they do.
So one of the interesting things I found, see, for me personally, I do also believe that sex work should be criminalized and also legalized, so that their rights can be protected, and then if there is violence meted against them, they have the right to report and be protected. But I found that your work involves kind of two layers. It seems the bulk of the girls that you did meet and work with were under the ages of 13 and 17. How did that happen?
It happens. When you move around these areas, you understand why we are saying, we are talking about these ages. You know, look at the Kayayes. They come here without knowing that they are coming to do this. They came with the main aim of carrying things and getting paid. And after that, because they don't have anywhere to stay, they stay with friends who introduce them to sex work. Now they are in sex work. What do they do to help themselves? They know nothing about what they are doing. So it is about whether to come in, step in, and then teach them of their rights, their health, what they can do to prevent HIV and other stuff. Yeah.
Mariama, so you said before we got into this, the next part of this conversation, that you were a former sex worker yourself. Can you share a bit of your experience? Did you experience any kind of violence in your time doing sex work professionally, or was it easier for you? Were you older, as in like were you an adult legally, or it started when you were much younger?
Okay, it all started when my grandfather died. So I don't have, I wanted to continue my education, and I don't have anyone to help me. So a friend introduced me to this work. So I started going with her. So if at times when we go, you see that the police will come and take all of us. So on the way, they will ask us, give us your money. Then quickly, because we are afraid, we have to give all the money we have for them. And on top of that, they went upstairs with us.
The police?
Yes, and without even using condom. So in fact, so at times, I will get two policemen having sex with me. Yes, not even in their house, but rather on the way. You see, they say, go and do it fast, so that I'll go.
And this is the only way you can keep the money you've made that night?
They will even take the money from you, and on top they will have sex with you.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not only the police as well.
Bridget,
It's
yeah.
not only the police as well. The brothel owners also take their money from them. They charge them huge, because you know they can, because of what they are doing. Again, it is illegal in Ghana, so they end up staying in the slums. The only way to stay there is in the brothels, and they, knowing that it's illegal for them to operate, they charge them a whole amount of money. Sometimes they can't say anything to object it. You don't want to pay, then that means you have to leave this place. Where then can they go and do their work? You understand? But and our main focus, aim is to decriminalize sex work, because when you are saying you are legalizing it, the government will tell you you can stand here, work here at this hour and that hour, which we are not interested in. They can tell you unless you go for this test or that, they'll give you a whole sort of rules. But our aim and our plead to government is that it is their work. That is what they do. Do you criminalize the doctor for what he is doing? No. This is what they are doing. So our hope is that the government should decriminalize sex work so that they can be free.
Absolutely, I absolutely agree. If there isn't a demand, there wouldn't be service to provide, right? Yes. And this is their livelihood, and they should be allowed to do that in a healthy environment.
I also let me come in here.
Yes, Mariama.
And in fact, the government is supposed to help us, because the sex workers help. They help a lot, because it reduces rape. You get me? And we also help the tourists. The thugs that come today.
Okay.
Because they leave their wives and so when you come we give you the service nicely. You see?
Exactly. You're helping the cause. I like that. So I also wanted to ask, Bridget, I also realized from your report that you have had dealings in your advocacy with the statutory agencies as well.
Yeah.
DOVSU, HRAC, social welfare, I think, and things like that. So what has been their response, particularly with the children who do find themselves in sex work? Because it's fine if they are adults, but the issue we have here is that these are kids who do not have agency or consent. So not agency, they are not legally on the right age to have consent to say I want to be a sex worker. So what's their response to these children?
Okay, for the children, most of them, that was when we were doing the child trafficking stuff. Okay. Most of them, they did not like it. Most of them traveled to Accra to have something doing. Most of them traveled to Accra they told them, I'll take you to school, or you be my housemaid. Then they end up being sex workers. They do not like it. So what we do is we train some policemen. We also train the social welfare so that these children, some of them do not want to stay in Accra anymore. So we liaise with their family, we liaise with the police so that we can take them back, give them some skill to do, and then they can stay there. But some, they want to stay in Accra. We also help them by giving them skills like hairdressing, like dressmaking, whatever skills they would like to do. We help them by doing that. Yeah.
Marima, do you have anything to say with that?
Oh yeah, that is that.
Okay. So another thing, have you ever had like pushback with religion, for example, being the argument, for instance? What do you normally hear in that regard?
A lot.
From the statutory agencies or the community? From
the community, statutory, the religious, and our community. It happens a lot. They criticize what we do.
Why is that? What do they say?
As I started, I was saying sex work is their livelihood. Maybe they do not understand why we say that. For women from 20 going, that is what they want to do. But for the children that we know, we have to guide them, those who do not want it. But the community think that sex work is not good. Like
it's abomination.
Yeah, it's an abomination. They shouldn't be allowed to do that. They are being nasty to themselves.
I see. So there's a lot of shame around sex working.
Yes, they said God has given you nice body. Go and work with it. Go and sell tomatoes, banku, and you are selling the body rather.
But you're getting people who are patronizing. Also from different spheres, right? So you're getting people from ministries, from church, from your clientele more often than not tends to be across board. Am I right? So I want to ask, if sex work was decriminalized, for instance, how different will it be for them?
Okay. I think with that, when it is decriminalized, you know that this is what you are doing. At least you can protect yourself. Governments, we traveled to Kenya where things like PrEP are available. Okay. Things like condoms are available to sex work free. The government who gives it out. So if we decriminalize sex work, governments can liaise with organizations so that we can mobilize them, tell them what their rights are, how they can get HIV, what they can do to avoid getting HIV, STDs, and other related issues. So when we decriminalize sex work, at least we can keep track of people doing sex work, and we can also help them as a whole.
And hopefully it would also compel the law enforcers to listen to them when they make reports of violence against them, right? Also, how can the general public help your cause? Because it must be financially intensive.
Very, very.
So how can people hear more about what you're doing, and how can we help if we wanted to? Marima?
You can start.
Okay.
How can they help us, the general public?
Ma'am, I'm asking how the general public can help the girls that you are currently assisting right now. How can we contribute to help your work?
You know, we need money that we can support them to continue their skills
Training.
training, and at the end, it's not only about the skills training, but when the person finish, you have to find something for the person to, and a place where the person can start doing a little something.
Okay.
So that is what we want.
Okay, right. And Bridget, anything else?
And also, I also think that we have friends, we have families who are going through these kinds of things. We have friends also who take children from up north to Accra. Immediately we see things like that, we should also help in reporting, because these children, most of the time, they don't know why they were here. They came to Accra, and then it happens. So we can also help them. When you see things like that, report. When you see someone in trouble, we can also help them.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bridget and Mariama. Thank you. A round of applause, please. I think it's good timing to ask if anybody has a question, anybody has anything to say. We'll do that in the next, say, Fatima, you can go. Yes.
Hi, Bridget and Mariama. Thank you for the conversation. The question I wanted to ask is with regards to child sex workers. It's illegal for children to do sex work. It's a human rights violation. So I want to find out what are some of the intervention programs that the government itself, like what's the government doing in the first place to even stop this? Because aside from the work that your organization does, part of it is the government's duty to ensure that children are kept safe. So I want to find out, like, from the government end, what are they doing on their part to, or are they supporting, like, maybe if they are not supporting you because they say sex.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, I think it's back. Bridget, you can take that now.
I think so far we've not gotten any government support, but outside support we have.
And like other working for how long?
WODA has been working for 5 years now.
And there's been no government support?
No.
But are you in touch with representatives?
We rather had, I think, a training for SOS, but that's one we did not get support from government, but from outside, another outside organization. Then we trained the police and then the social welfare staff, some of the social welfare staffs. Yeah.
So all your support has been from international bodies?
Yeah.
That's tragic. That's disgraceful. Any other question, please, from anybody? Any other questions? You can share your thoughts as well on how you generally feel about sex workers and how you picture an ideal state of work for them. Yes, please. Please come forward.
Hi. So you mentioned that in other countries there is PrEP and PrEP available for the sex workers, but then to my knowledge, I know PrEP is also like available in Ghana currently and it's free, and they're rolling out to some of the female sex workers. I don't know if you know about it, but then yes. So I wanted to know that whether you knew about that program. You do. Okay.
So we can get it.
That's good information. Thank you for sharing that with us. So at least we have someone to talk to.
Yes, this kind of PrEP and the PrEP we are talking about is we know it's here,
okay,
but it's for the nurses and the maybe what we know is what we are telling you people. And if you are a female sex worker and maybe you get maybe you were in the art and the condom bars, there we know that they will refer you for the PEP. That is what we know here. But when you go to Kenya, they give it out freely. And even here, though it's free, but the way they give it over there is not.
Is it selective? Are they being
selective? Yes, selective. Unless maybe your condom bars and maybe you're a nurse or doctor and you.
But maybe they give.
If maybe injection, you are about to inject someone, maybe quickly there, accidentally there, maybe the needle
breaks or something,
and then they will give you. That is what we know here.
So it's not as available as it should be.
Yes,
maybe for them.
But
yeah,
maybe
they can
okay.
help.
So I think we should take this conversation afterwards because there seems to be some new information coming up. So that's great. Any other question from anybody? If not, then I think it's a great time to round this up. Thank you so much for taking the time. This was a conversation that I was looking forward to having, and I'm so proud of what you're doing, and I'm sure everybody else is as well. And please reach out to Bridget and Mariama if you want to know more of their work and how you can personally help. I think online we probably have to share their links or something and their numbers as well if you want to reach out to them and connect. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you.
Thank you, Ifya, for that. Thank you, Bridget and Mariama. We're really honored to have had you here today. The next thing that we're having now is a workshop with Adiza on making sex safer and more fun. So if you're interested in joining the workshop, it's going to be happening here. So she'll be coming up soon to facilitate the workshop. Thank you. In the meantime, there's water at the bar, there's food behind. Yeah.